So, first of all, I'd like to acknowledge that we are on Aboriginal land wherever we are across Victoria. And I'm in Naarm. You may know that as Melbourne, on Wurundjeri country, Wurundjeri Wurrung of the Kulin Nation. But we in family daycare are so well positioned to be able to teach children about the oldest living culture in the world. This is where I live, and I want everyone to, I can see you, get your pretend clappers. You're going to be clapping your hands. And just where it says thank you, Gadigal, you can say whatever land you're from. And this is written by me, but approved by Annette Sachs. Because when I said to Annette, can you write me something I can do across of Australia? She said, why do we black fellas have to do everything for you white fellas? You write it, come back to me. So I have. So actually, I'm going to use my sticks. Oh, here they are. Beautiful. My beautiful claves. Ready, everyone. Thank you, Gadigal people, for caring for this land. Aboriginal people here since time began, caring for country, land, sky, and waterways. Thank you, elders, for where we learn and play. So you can use that with your children. That is absolutely fine. Tonight, you are here for a PD in your pocket. And did you know that there is 1,200 of you? Do you believe it? Isn't there anything on television? Really? No, I love that you're here. It's fantastic. So, welcome to PD in your pocket. Safe arrival of children, transport of children in family daycare. I'm Louise Dorrit. I know some of you, and this is my 37th year in early childhood, and many of those years were spent in family daycare as the approved provider. I've also worked in the Starting Out Safely program for 11 years in Victoria, and that's so we encourage educators to teach children to be safe road users in their community. So when Nikki asked me to do this, I'm so committed to this topic because you in family daycare go out and about and often, and you have the younger citizens with you, and why shouldn't they be part of this beautiful community? So the PD in your pocket, along with the next few sessions, is funded by New South Wales Early Childhood Education and Care Regulatory Authority, so your department, and also I want to acknowledge Ella, Early Learning Association Australia, the Starting Out Safely program, for all the images in this professional development, and also for some of the extra resources. And you've got resources yourself. And the fabulous Ethan is going to put them in the links when I get to them. Now, everyone would have received this, the PD in your pocket booklet. And if not, Ethan is going to put it onto the website and you'll be able to get that. So everything that you see here is in this book. And if you're listening to it as a podcast, the link is actually, can you put that link in, Ethan? I didn't even tell you about this one, but you'd know it. The New South Wales Family Daycare.org.au PD in your pocket. Could you put that in there? Thank you so much. And just a reminder about the survey you'll be sent after the session. And can you please fill it in, because this helps us get the funding to be able to continue providing this training for free. So how good's that? And you can join the closed Facebook group if you haven't already, PD in your pocket, and keep the conversations going. Now, write in the chat, and don't you worry about spelling. I mean, you're already writing. I've already got 99 plus messages here. Write in the chat. Everyone's saying hello. I love that. Everyone's so friendly. Now, no more saying hello, because I've got to keep reading this. Hi, and Vet. Hello, Yvette. Okay, no more saying hello, because I've got to read the chat. I want you to write in the chat if you go out the front gate, if you go out and about, whether it's, let's do walking. If you go outside walking with the children. Yes, I do. Good on you. And how often? Oh my goodness, look how many, Ethan, that just makes my heart sing. Weekly, love it. It's like daily, all the time. Good on you, Sarah. Twice a week. Yes, like good. Excellent. Okay, those of you who are saying no by the end of this session, you will be getting out and about, because we believe that children, and not just a few times, because it can be a lot of work if you've never done it before to get to pack the first aid kit, to get all their stuff. Whereas if you go daily, look at this, so many people. Ethan, are you reading this daily? Oh, come on, that is brilliant. Almost every day. I love that. And that's what Family Daycare do the best. They go out into the community, because that's what you do. And I love that. And when I was a approved provider, I always encourage them. I would check the risk assessment. There's always barriers. Some people say, oh, there's too much paperwork, which is a lot of hoo-ha, because there's only one bit of paperwork you have to do for the whole year if the circumstances do not change. And we'll get into that. Okay, so a couple of you are saying no. Right, by the end of this session, you'll be going out and about, because really, in our National Quality Standard, Quality Area 2 is health and safety. So we need to protect children from harm and hazards, and, of course, active supervision. However, Area 6 is, I love that. Oh, my goodness. Faye, I want to get back to Faye. See, I'm reading and chatting. Yes, daily, and that could be 6 or 7 days a week. I go to the bus stop 10 times a week. I love that, Faye. Okay, so someone said depends on the weather. You know what? No such thing as inappropriate weather. It's inappropriate clothing. If we lived in Melbourne, mostly rains. I go to the park up the road, but would love to walk to more places. Good. I'm so pleased. We walk daily to feed the lambs and the ponies next door, Tony. I love that. Oh, I want to talk to you all evening, but I have to get on with this presentation. Oh, look at that, Charlie. But if we go school runs twice a day. Oh, that's so good. I hope everyone's loving reading this. Into the paddocks, Leanne Smith, good on you. And just walking in the street. Angel, walking in the street is extraordinary, because what are children learning? Write down, what are children learning when they're walking around the streets looking at the houses? What are they learning? Tell me. What are they learning? They're walking past houses, right? Now, don't worry about spelling or grammar. Just write in the chat the environment, road safety. That's it. Numbers on the house, Hindi, numbers. And you'll be able to say numeracy. Now there's 2 and 4. Where's 3? Oh, 3's across the road. Looking out for vehicles. That's it. In colours, cars. Look at all the learning. And you can't say, oh, I don't have time to do that in my curriculum. This is part of the curriculum. The definition of curriculum is the interactions, the routine, the planned, the unplanned, isn't it, in the day-to-day learning environment? So the routines, the transition, see people, meeting the neighbours, the lollipop person, of course, look at that. Saying good morning to the elders. Oh, my goodness. That is divine. Absolutely. Safety. Look at that. That's amazing. Perfect. Animal. Yep. Okay, stop. I need to stop reading because it's also extraordinary. Holding hands, school run, nature walk, swimming in the lake. Oh, take a clipboard. Wow, that's pretty organised. So that's all the learning. So I don't know why you aren't going out a few times a week for those who say no. So, okay, so let's get moving. Okay, this is what we learned from you. Because remember, you answered some questions when you registered for the session. So I'm just looking at the screen there. A huge 72% of you are aware of the new requirements for regular transportation from last March. That's March 2003. I don't know why you're here then. But that's good. I'm so pleased for centre-based Now, this is the new laws for centre-based care, but guidance for family daycare. But because family daycare always work in the best practice model, we say, we advise that you do this too. 19% of you were unsure and only 9% weren't aware. So I'm so pleased you're here. Now, the next question we asked you, are you aware of the safe arrival of children? So two-thirds of you are aware of the new legislation relating to safe arrival of children for centre-based care and family day care. And from this law, so there's two different ones. This one commenced in October last year, and 7% weren't aware. Then we've got, did you know which car seat restraint different age children need to be in? Thankfully, 84% of you know which car seat restraint different age children need to be in, while 11% of you unsure, and only 5% of you don't know. So they might be those of you who don't transport children in your car. That's what I'm thinking. How often do you go on excursions? Okay, so those who wrote in the chat must be the ones in the red and the often, which is green, so that's a third. So great to see a third of you go on excursions. So that's out of 1,200 people, that's 400 of you. Yay! Often, and sometimes another third of you. So, but 23% of you don't go at all. So this is for you to get out and look at all the beautiful educators and what they wrote about all the learning, what happens. Plus, we want to get out. There's children, I don't know about on Gadigal land, but here in Naarm, in Melbourne, a lot of parents drive their children. So we want children to get out and about. That's it. Excursions, that's right. This is what we're covering tonight. What we know about, what we all know about children and roads, the benefits and the barriers of children going beyond the gate, risk assessments for regular outings, excursions, transportation and safe arrival of children, and the new requirements that I just spoke about, the March 23 and October 23, and the road safety and safe arrival education in practice. Carol Booth, what are you doing there? I don't go at all anymore because I write policies instead of oh yeah, that's because you're in the office. That's exactly right. Everyday nature schools, that is just brilliant. So this is, I've covered it, I've broken it up into three. We have pedestrians, passengers, and cyclists. So children are participants on our roads in these three ways. Why is it important for our children to be visible in the community? Because they are active citizens. And the beautiful thing is, in our new early years learning framework, the word wasn't in the old one because they wouldn't put it in, even though we wanted it in. But it's in this one. It's in the definitions at the back, and it says citizenship. This is what citizenship is. And it's so just in there. Look at that. And I printed out your family daycare, so get a receipt, tax deductible, and I keep it and write all over it. You have a look at my old one. Look at this, being family daycare. Look at my time out. Look at my old one, how old it is. I've written all over it. And this one as well. So I've got sticky notes on this. So citizenship means being a member of and supporting one's community, including the early childhood setting, as well as the local and global community. Citizenship involves a range of key components such as opportunities for belonging and participation, contributing to decision-making and taking responsibility for actions to others and to the environment. And I know when I've gone out with children and they'll start talking about, look at all the rubbish, let's pick it up. But not now, because we actually have to talk about what's safe to pick up, what's not safe to pick up. We need to wear gloves. We need to bring plastic bags. We would never pick up that syringe. And it's all contextual. Some of you live in rural areas. I've always worked in a city, and so there's syringes there. But in rural there could be snakes. So it's as someone said, you learn about safety, etc. All of that. Gee, you're still chatting. I love that. What a great group. Still talking. Look at that. I don't go out as I work 4 days, and each day is different children. The parents, when asked, were very happy I stay home. Yeah, great comment. Parents are happy that the children stay home. Parents perhaps don't want you to take them out. Hey, they want half price fees too. Do we allow that? We know it's good for children. Some families don't walk with their children. So thank you for saying that. You go 4 days a week. You could go walk once a week on a different day. So each child gets a go every 4 weeks, The library, Tina, I love that. That is so good. It's we know, Linda Tandy, look at you. I need it for my mental health. That's it. Mental health. Imagine children. Hang on, what did you just say? That's a deal breaker for my families. If you don't like excursions, you won't fit my service. That's it, Sheridan. So we say to families on enrolment, part of why I'm such a brilliant family daycare educator, my name is Sheridan, is because we believe that children need to be out and about, and it's so good, like being, and I'm using that a word emotively, cramped in the house, and that's not what but we want children to be out, not around here, not safe roads, no footpaths. Sandra Mad, there's no safe footpaths. So, if you're on a main road, well, then your risk assessment would look very different, wouldn't it? And if there's no footpaths, your risk assessment would look different. There's our excursions are based on being well behaved outdoors with not only, oh my goodness, this is amazing. This is amazing. Jessica, I don't mind you're late, you're here, aren't you? It's true that to go out. I agree about adding it into the interview. Yep, that's great, Sri Warburn. Excellent. So I could talk to you all night, but I better get on with it. And I know that, so I've read out The Active Citizen. Research tells us that when children are visible in the community, communities are safer. Children learn best in real life environments. You could read a story about being safe on the road. It's not the same as being in a real life environment. And I know what you're saying about parents. There's barriers, concerned parents, but they're concerned when we started the Bush Kinder. Doug Fargus started Bush Kinder in 2011, and I worked there for 2 years. And I know that was the first Bush Kinder, and I know Aboriginal people have been teaching on country for 60,000 plus years, but this was the first registered Bush Kinder. And I will tell you all that parents weren't that keen on spending 3 hours a week in the bush out of 15, 3 hours in the bush, because they, wanted them to be learning or getting ready for school, etc. Our job was to teach the parents how much they learned, and that's all in the documentation. So when children are climbing trees in the park, they're learning to manage risks. Risks are not to be eliminated. They are to be managed. So we teach the children, when the branch is wobbly, you don't climb it. When the branches are thicker than your wrist, so when the branches is wobbly, you don't climb it. When the branch is thinner than your wrist, you don't climb it. But if the branch is firm and it's thicker than your wrist, you climb it. Dogs off lead, we teach them what to do. So it's lifelong learning. So we have to sell this to the families, what we do. And so concerned parents, some people say there's too much paperwork. I will say this, I've been saying this for 11 years. For a regular outing, that is going to that same park every couple of days, 3 times a week. You're going to the same park and you go this way and that way, and then you go here. And if the risks are the same, you only need to do one risk assessment for the whole 12 months and one authorization where the family sign. If there's another child added to that day and they may have high support needs or they may have challenging behaviours, I want to see another risk assessment, because I just want to make sure that you write in there that, say, if their name's Wasabi, that you hold Wasabi's hand when you're crossing the road, because Wasabi is the one that may run off. So that is managing the risk, not eliminating it. Oh, we can't go out because we've got Wasabi on a Tuesday. So that too much paperwork is not true. At risk assessments, of course, we have to identify the risks. And is it likely? So I live in a city, so if I'm walking the children, there's high rises. Is it likely that someone is going to throw a casserole out of the top window and hit one of the children on the head? Very unlikely. So I wouldn't be putting that in the risk assessment. But I would put in that there could be syringes. There could be syringes. That's it, Sheena, a risk-benefit assessment of a working document. That's it. It's, as I said, thank you, Mariam. As I said, it is, the risks are to be managed, not eliminated. Good on you, Diane. Yep. So your children adore the Yep, so instead of the lollipop lady, we can call them now crossing supervisor person. Jeanette, and vice versa. She knows all their names. And I agree, when I walked my children to school, the same thing. And her name was Fortini, and she would always say, Yasu, Louisa, Yasu, Garisto, and Kalimera, and I'd say Kala, Pali Kala. I'm not Greek, but I always pretended that I always wanted to be. So she taught me Greek every morning. Also, dynamic risk assessment by the children and myself. That's it. Thanks, Summer. I'm glad you're back. That's good. Oh, you're such a good group. Going to the supermarket shopping is learning in the community. Oh, okay. So, Christine, if I were you, I would talk to your service about what is the purpose of you going to the supermarket. I don't want you to be buying your lover's undies, of course, but if you're buying the ingredients to make Play-Doh, we need some milk, we need some bread. Of course, that's learning. So I would put that in your risk assessment, and I would say that. Okay. Your Greek is great. Oh, Afghanistan. Eleanor and Sophia have got a store. All right. Polygala. Okay, so where are we? And also I can hear what you're saying, but Louise, we have Heavenly Hirani, Tiger Lily, and Mercedes and Chappelle, and they've got high support needs and they need this to take, or we've got a little bebe. You might have a bebe that needs to be fed. Well, that's all part of it, I know, but the more you do it, the easier it is. So write in the chat if you have babies, if you have going to Bunnings garden area, that is always so good. That's so good. That's so good, because Bunnings is good for children, isn't it? That's it. No way. Linda Tandy, why not? Why wouldn't you go to Bunnings? And you know your children the best, and you don't. We're 10. Oh, look at that. No to the babies. All right. Okay. You don't have to. Oh, yes. Jackie has babies. So they're easy. Whack them all in the pram. My youngest just turned 1. He goes on excursions. That's it. There you have it. That's beautiful. I've got to stop reading because I've got to get sorted. And, of course, a couple of you said the weather. The Bush Kinder's been going for 12 years. It's only been closed once with the weather, and that's due to an electrical storm. So there's no such thing as inappropriate weather. It's inappropriate clothing. We go bush and beach. Good on you, Julie. I do 10 risk assessments and 100 authorizations for my excursions. Sarika, why do you need to do 100? You only need to do 1. I understand you do 10 because that would be 10 different spots that you're going to, or it could be different days. You've got Chappelle and Mercedes on that day, and you'd need it. But lots of paperwork. No, that is no. There's only one. Weather only looks bad in the window. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Okay, I understand. You've got 20 different children, Sarika. That's why you need all the authorizations. And thank you for challenging me. That's okay. I don't mind you're late. You're here now, aren't you? That's perfect. All right. So, why are children at risk from being on the road? It's research suggests that road-related incidents involving children often occur because children are still developing the skills needed for safe road use. Write in the chat why children are at risk as pedestrians. Why? I'll give you one, because they're small. Why else? I'm small too. Yep. Cars make them into pancakes. Oh my goodness. Yes. Why else? Great, Jenny. Thanks for that. Lack of practice. That's it. Now, lack of practice. That is it Zainab that said that? Peripheral vision not fully developed. Yeah, what a smart group. That's it. That develops at about the age of 10. So to be able to look this way and this way. Small can't be visible. Lack of practice. They don't understand circumstances and consequences. That's it. So they're egocentric. There's a ball across the road, they go straight across. Because they don't then, well, it's not that, yeah, well, they're not careful enough, but that's because of their development. Children get easily distracted, all of that. Thank you, Sarah. They can't judge speed and distance. That is so right. Impulse control. You're all exactly right. I just want to comment on a couple of these. What Sarah said, can't judge speed and distance. So we need to practice that. So we say to the children, you tell me when it's safe to cross the road. They'll go, now. Well, you have a look at that red car. You think that red car's right there, but it is not. That, I mean, you think that red car's way away, but it's not. It's right there. You watch it, boom, boom. Oh, there it is. So cars go really fast, but that's practice and discussions, isn't it? They could run on the road. That's it. Not paying attention. Oh my goodness, they're all just brilliant distractions. Lack of supervision. That shouldn't be there because we are actively supervising the children, learning to use all their senses. That's exactly right. That this mob is very good, Ethan. That's it. So, children have difficulties in judging how fast a vehicle may be travelling and how long it may take to walk from one side of the road to the other. They're the smallest road users, and because of their size, they are a significant disadvantage in the road environment, and they're vulnerable as road users. Also, a couple of you wrote children's cognitive abilities. So that's your cognitive, that is your thinking and your development, your social emotional development of being egocentric. The visual timing, which one of you said. And it's often when children are learning a new skill, we are inconsistent with putting it into practice. They need to practice all the time. And children are not always likely to look out for vehicles, as you said, particularly turning vehicles. So that's practice now. We're crossing the pedestrian crossing here, and even though it's green, even though the walk light has turned green, we still have to look this way. And it's, those of you who say, or those people that say, wait till the man turns green. How do you know it's a man? I just say the walk light, the person. We've been saying man for 250 years. Let's say woman. It's all good. It's all good. Children are egocentric. So you as educators play such an important role in intentionally teaching the children about their participation around and on the roads, which of course is consistent with the early years learning framework. So you may be thinking, at what age can a child cross on their own? Write in the chat. Ethan's got a big prize. Write in the chat what age, well, I just closed this door. What age can a child walk on the road, walk across the road, do you think? Colby, you can turn on the telly. Mm. Okay, you're all amazing. The actual answer, I've just eaten a bit of bread. Research shows that children from around 10 to 11 years of age have developed improved cognitive and perceptual abilities. Uno momento, hang on. I just had to have that bit. So sorry about that. So 10 to 11, because as someone said earlier, the perceptual awareness, the cognitive abilities. And of course, some children will be a lot younger. I know all of my children walk to school, but when the first time they did, I would hide behind a tree because I was so nervous. But it's practice, because we want the children, like say in year 7, they'll be going to school by themselves. They can't just all of a sudden know the road rules. We teach everything else, don't we? So yeah. And Sri Devi, she might even be on here tonight. She's a family daycare educator in Melbourne, and this is not her there, but she lived quite a few blocks, like quite a long way from the school. So she wanted the children to walk to school. So after conducting a risk assessment, Sri Devi dropped the 2 family daycare children off at school, but parked 4 blocks away to allow the children to experience walking to school. How good's that? So effective road safety skills are best learned if they occur in a real traffic environment. And we know that children learn primarily by experience, and that their learning is enhanced by adult involvement, especially where such involvement encourages reflection by the child. So when you get back, so what were the rules? What did you see? And when do you cross the road? All of that. Firstly, let's look at the statistics of the road injuries and deaths. So during 2017, 2018, the 3 leading causes of injury deaths in Australia among children birth to 14 were transport accidents, 30%. Now, look at the breakdown of that. As you can see on the screen, the number of deaths for children is highest for motor vehicle. So 60% passengers in the car, that's the highest. Next comes pedestrians, and then last is bicycle or wheeled toys. So, and this is not told to you to scare you or frighten you, but rather to alert you to the numbers of children affected by road-related trauma. And in family daycare, you can play your part to ensure that children are safer now and, of course, into the future. So, yeah, so they're the stats. And get a load of this. A total of 68 children have been left on a bus in Australia over the past 5 years. So that is like more than one a month. And 10 children have died after being left in cars, according to KidSafe. And in 2020, so 2 years ago, there was a 3-year-old treated in intensive care after being found unconscious on a bus outside her Queensland early learning service. She had been left on a bus alone for 6 hours in temperature over 30 degrees. And this has resulted in legislative changes for centre-based care and guidance for family day care this is why it's changed, on safe transportation for children. And this came into effect last March in 2023. So, and we'll be discussing that later in detail. So that's why the changes. And over the past 5 years, I'll tell you what the stats are of children being left on buses, state by state. Worst, Queensland, 41. This is left on a bus. WA 9, New South Wales 6, Tasmania 4, Victoria 4, and South Australia 2, Northern Territory and ACT 1. But 1's too many, isn't it? So that's why we want children to get out and about to learn. And would you mind, Ethan, put the kids in traffic, road safety, kids in traffic? Did we do that one? It's probably one we didn't do. Now, researchers, put that in the chat if you can find it. It's on the screen there, but I don't know whether we discussed that. Ethan and I have been working very hard before this to make sure that you had an excellent presentation. So researchers involving observing children in the road environment asked children participating why they had not looked for traffic, and they replied that the adults were there to look after us. That's what we were saying before. It's got to be practice. Children are likely to presume the presence of an adult makes it safe irrespective of their own actions. After all, adults typically make crossing decisions when out walking with children. So that's why we need to involve them. When do you think? And of course, when a 2-year-old says now, you're not going to go, okay, it's about practice, isn't it? Just like with everything. So therefore, we need to encourage children to make the decisions in consultation with us. So, Fifi, Trixie Bell, when do you think it's safe? You tell us. And another study of children aged 10 to 12 and their parents asked this is interesting. They were asked, their families were asked and also the 10 to 12-year-olds, what was their greatest concern, or what was the parents' greatest concern of them walking in the streets themselves? I'd like you to write in the chat what you think was the parents' answer. Fifi Trixabel was the name of my cat. I love that, Terry. Oh, good. Sing stop at the red light. Yep, that's it. Oh, thank you. You've done it. Oh, okay. So the Road Safety New South Wales Association to everyone. That's fantastic. And excellent. And the kids in traffic. Thank you so much. Yep. Great. Excellent. Okay. Yep. I can see your answers. Abduction. Child getting run over. Strangers. Isn't that interesting? Twinkle, twinkle, traffic light. Yep. Abduction. Okay, so that is the biggest, and that is true. Guess what? Strangers. Look at that. Stranger danger. It's a myth. Can I tell you? It is a myth. It is a myth. And we need to tell families this. It's not true. Abduction's not true. No more writing it. No more. There's a 1 in 4 million chance of a child being abducted by a stranger. 1 in 4 million chance. True. You're more likely to, I know, Gemma, and that's because the media has told us that. We know the children's names in the last decade of children who have gone missing. We know their names, Chloe, Daniel, because it is rare and random. When a child is abused or killed, who does the police interview? That's it. You're right, Josephine. It's the family. Where more than 90% of children, that's it. Oh, don't say us. Abused by someone that they know. So when families say, yep, that's it. When families say, I'm still reading all the, when families say, I'm worried about stranger danger, we say that. I started in 1986, and we learnt that, sorry, was supposed to write family. Richard now discusses this in The Last Child in the Woods. Yes, I've got that book. Statistics are the same as last century, but it's people go crazy, don't they? All of you wrote abduction. All of you. There'll be a child abducted. They'll find them later, but it'll be on today, tonight, tomorrow, next week, or No Idea. It'll be in No Idea or Women's Weekly. Parents, readers love, oh my goodness, that's terrible. They took the child. I teach my students, hang on, all types of danger from talking to strangers. Susan, we have to, they're part of our community. As some people said earlier, it's one that okay, so that's interesting, Joanne. A case today, children approached by a stranger in a car offering lollies to get in the car. So, but that would be very rare. It's if someone is hurt, it's usually by someone that they know. That's the fact. Over 95%. If some control about teaching road safety, but no control about abduction. Well, we do, Gemma, we do when the children are out with us, don't we? Because you active supervision, that's the key. And it's at least you you've got up to seven children, and you would be holding the children's hand of the ones that you're worried about. Anyway, back to and I've got all the research here, lots of research about that stranger danger. So that's the biggest myth. Now, risk assessments for regular outings, transportation, and excursions need to be written, as I said before, within 12 months of the date of the outing. So once for the 12 months. You only need the one if the circumstances relevant to the risk assessment are substantially the same on each outing. If the risks change, like someone beautiful before said they do 20 for the year, if the risks change, a new risk assessment and written authorisation is required for each outing. So I'll give you an example of when it might change. The location, so it might be a different park, and always check it first. We would always do that in family day care. I would walk with, around on the weekend, or in centre-based care, I'd do it in my planning. Additional children that I said earlier, the route, like you might go to the same park, but hey, one of the children said to you, why can't we go this way? Because then we pass our house. Yes, but that means we would have to change. Would have to do another risk assessment for that, because we are going a different way. Like, duh. We don't apologise about that. The method of transport to and from the proposed destination. So normally we walk, but now we're going to drive. So, yep, the activities that we're going to do there. This time we're going to be climbing trees. So I want to put that in the risk assessment. Proposed duration of the outing, so how long you're going to be there, and children with medical conditions, and you always take the these photos here were just taken recently in Apollo Bay, the kindergarten. Those children walk around a fair bit, and look at the learning of those children just in their community. What are the children learning? How fantastic is that? Discuss child safety, right? I'm still just talk children. So much you see around the world. Okay, so Sri Warburn, yeah, there is a lot that you see around the world. Child trafficking, you're right. On the news, we write all of that. However, we see all of that. However, as I said before, research shows that the safest communities are those with children walking around in the community. Because then, thank you, Sarah, because then families know to slow down here because there's children often. So back to our risk assessment. All regular outings, excursions, or transportation of children must follow the details written in the risk assessment and authorisation of that event. So if any details mentioned, example, going on a different location or stopping somewhere along the way, like to Bunnings, someone said Bunnings, well, then it must be updated. And of course, that makes sense, doesn't it? And authorisation before the excursion or the transportation occurs. It's such a vocal group. I love that. Everything's a risk, but we have to. Yeah, that's true. And that's a great example of it comes. We have to come from a place of trust. We have to come from a place of children being competent and capable, or we can come from a place of fear, and our children are going to get attacked. I live in a city in Carlton. I've been working with a centre close to the Vic Market, and they used to go out a lot, and they stopped going when they heard that there was a person going nuts, which is not unusual for around here. There's a lot of people that face a lot of trauma, they chase their demons, they suffer mental illnesses. That is a given. We cannot eliminate that. So by not going, it's just hiding our head in the sand. Certain areas you will see that, but risks are to be managed, not eliminated. We talk to the children about that. You might have people that are screaming out. Why? Because they might be ill. They might have a mental illness. That's what we talk to children about. But don't you worry, you're going to be safe. Road work, great. So Janelle's changed her route to walk to the walk because there's roadworks. That's it. I would not do a new risk assessment for unknown changes. I would update my current or make a note. Yeah, Sheena, the regulations say that we actually have to do a new risk assessment. So just change that one for updated changes. That is what I'm reading out is the regs. And that's for family daycare too. I've put in a couple of routes on my, yep, okay, terrific. So Kylie has put in, no, Christine or some, oh, it's just to us. Okay. So one of the educators has put a couple of different routes in that one risk assessment. And as long as you've mentioned all the risks in both of those, beautiful. Okay. I agree, a vet. Oh, what's a vet saying that I missed? Vet, where are you? Oh, how long ago did a vet say something fabulous? Anyway, can you see that? Oh, a vet, here we are. Okay. I love that a vet said something fabulous because I've found it now. Children are part of our community and they need to be able to explore and experience the world that they are part of. Don't we want our children to be competent in their world? A vet, that needs to be on the front cover. But that's what it says in our early years learning framework, that our children, our younger citizens, these children, they're out and about. That's exactly right. I'm glad I found 4 new messages. Come on. Question: if you do school to pick up. Okay, so I'll get to that. Thank you so much. Driving to school and you have to detour because of roadworks. Well, that is how can you help that? But it's a great question. So you would write that at the beginning of the year. This is the route that I'm taking unless there's detours. Because that's out of your control, isn't it? Great comments, fabulous questions, aren't they, Ethan? So this is, you know this is what the risk matrix looks like. And this is in the Guide to the National Quality Framework. I use this all the time. And a risk matrix is a way to assess the hazards and the risks. You'll need to think about the consequence. So what harm could come to that child? So the consequences at the top: moderate, high, extreme. So the consequence, sorry, I'm reading the wrong one. The consequence, is it insignificant? Is it minor? Is it moderate, etc.? So, for example, and then down the side, the likelihood of that injury occurring. And remember, you only have to do this once per year if the situation doesn't change. So let's look at some examples. And I said earlier about the walking in a city and someone throwing out a hot casserole outside the top window, like it slipped from her hand. She wasn't being violent. And so that would be quite significant. The consequence would be high, but it would be rare, wouldn't it? So you put your finger down across and low. But what is high is dogs off lead. So therefore, active supervision reduces the risk. And also we teach children what to do if we go to the park and there's a dog off lead. about completing a review form instead of redoing a whole risk assessment. Yeah, Kylie, I've just seen Kylie's question. What about completing a review form? Yeah, I guess if you've got a review form, if you've got another template, all good. As long as those risks are included, sounds good. So a dog off lead can be almost certain. So likelihood, it is possible, and the consequence could be minor, moderate, or major. So because it's possible and it's high. It's a high risk. So therefore I would get someone from the coordination unit to come out, or at a meeting get the primary industries to talk about what to do with dogs off lead. And of course you would go to a park that is a dog on lead park. So that's how we reduce the risks. And also active supervision, we reduce the risks. And that's what's included. Now I've put here, let's look at what's required in the risk assessment this is for a one-off excursion and for regular outings. So we've got, if you can see up there, and this is straight from ASEQA, and its service name is there. You can see the excursion details, the date of excursion, that is the one date. If it's a regular outing, include the description of when children are to be taken out so it might be Mondays and Tuesdays, etc. The proposed activities, what are you going to do there? You could climb trees. Pick up location and destination. So list each location travelled to and from as part of the excursion. So that could be the museum, the park, etc. Estimated departure and arrival time and duration of the excursion. Estimated. That is estimated. Negative Navina said the other day, oh, right, so you want me to put 10:32 to 11:14? No, the law says estimated. Proposed routes. Yep, the image is what one of you said. The means of transport, requirements for seatbelt, blah, 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 blah. Any water hazards, education, well, it's 1 to 7 for you, isn't it? And sometimes family day care coordinators will come with you for your first one. I know we used to. So, and as ASEQA has prepared the template, I don't know if you can find an excursion template on the notes there, Ethan, but it's if you Google ACECQA excursion template. Sorry, I didn't give you that earlier, but it's in the book too. Some services don't allow excursions, but ours does, which is great. Yeah, exactly. Some people don't allow excursions because it's all too hard. That's it, Zainab. That's it. Seatbelts checked and made sure of making. Now, just with this, we used to get our family day care educators to check their seatbelts, check their car seats once a year by this company. Then we realised that the company actually, there's no certificate to be a seatbelt checker. They're just smart at reading directions. So we don't bother with that anymore. We make sure that the educators know about how to do it. The parents teach them, because you're not going to go when Jezebel and Lulu Bell move up to the next seat. You're not going to go and get it checked, are you, each time? So you have to know. Okay, so excursions activities should link to the planning cycle. Oh, yeah, you're there, aren't you? Can you put the template up? Oh, you did. All right, so Carol Booth's put up the template there. Thank you. That's all right. So don't worry about that, Ethan. Oh, you have. Ethan's done it too. Look at that. Ethan's put excursions guidelines. Great. So Carol's done the template and you've done the guidelines. I love this. Carol's a coordinator from Queensland and Melbourne and all around the place, so she knows all the stuff. Hang on, where's it? You said, okay, should link to the planning cycle. Everything you do is about learning. if you go to Bunnings, it's learning, isn't it? The planning cycle is taking information, collecting information, analysing, learning. So everything you do is part of the planning cycle. You're putting clothes on the line with the children. What are they learning? All of that. And planning cycle, thinking ahead. It's part of the QIP as well. Quality Improvement Plan on Area 2 and Area 6. 6, getting out in the community. Okay, so Emma, I'd be talking to your service, family daycare service. What do they mean by that? Because that is cray. Okay. And if the seats have gone from back to front, we have to get them checked again. Okay, well, Sandra, I'd be talking to your service, because the people that check it, we were doing it for 12 years. They were making a fortune. But then it started to rain and the kids started to get upset. What do I do? Okay, Zainab's saying they promised to go on an excursion. Well, to me, I've said this, Zainab, that no such thing as inappropriate weather. It's inappropriate clothing. So we still go. We still go. There you go. So to reinforce that, a risk assessment is only required to be completed at least once for a 12-month period if the excursion or regular outing and the risks stay the same. A regular outing is, those of you know this because you wrote it at the beginning, the walk 3-4 days a week, the drive or the trip to and from a destination that the service visits regularly as part of your program or your home. And okay, so, and remember to visit beforehand to ensure fencing, bathrooms, is there a toilet at the park, floodways, creeks, routes, other people's accessing the area, which, you know, to me is fine. Our Bush Kinder people accessed it. I mean, we shouldn't be scared of people. Petrol stations, other hazards can be identified and included in the risk assessment. And then we've got, I've added this because I've written this and it was approved by the department. So that's fabulous, isn't it? So this is the template from ASEQA, the activity, what you've identified, the risk assessment using the matrix. So is it high, moderate, you know, the likelihood and the consequence? As I said, the person at Vic Market that is you know, getting anxious, that is, it is likely, but what are we going to do about that? It's not that we're not going to do it. There's syringes, that is likely in certain areas. Snakes are likely from November to April, where we had our Bush Kinder. So we had to teach the children what happens in a snake. So everything is completely different, and you've got elimination control measures. So that is, how have you reduced the risk? We've had the primary industries in. Carol Booth, the coordinator, came out and spoke about dogs off lead, all of that. Who's doing it, when, etc., etc. So how good's that? Oh, there you go. A review is attached. Venue and safety information reviewed and attached. There we have it. And we spoke about the pram. So a safe pram that complies with the current mandatory safety requirements. So prams over 12 years old may not meet the current standards. They must have at least one or more parking brakes with red parking brake levers. They must have an inbuilt 5-point adjustable restraint around the child's waist and between their legs. And using a pram safely. So when stationary, ensure the brakes are on. Always use the 5-point adjustable harness. Ensure the straps are tight and never hang bags or handles or carry extra children, and teach children not to stand up. Active supervision, always stay with the child when they're in the pram. And number 4, safe sleep practices. Prams are not recommended for babies and toddlers to sleep in. This is all in your notes. You don't need to take record me. It's all in your notes here. And because babies under 6 months old should not be placed in a stroller, because the head can fall forward and pushing down the chin towards the chest, and therefore the airway can become blocked. So it's good that they're flat. And the second last one, don't cover the pram. Oh my goodness, I got too excited that I moved that. Covering the pram, I've got so many things open, the notes and everything, because once again, the air circulation and crossing the road, you know this, that remember that the pram is out the front and will enter the cross or the driveway before you. So, and on public transport, ask someone to help. If you're lifting your pram or stroller onto the public transport, you always hold the handle, so you go backwards. You don't want to get the not stranger, the lovely person that you don't know, to take the pram, and then all of a sudden the doors close and off they go. Okay, you get the day off. Well, you don't really get the day off, because then you have to quickly get an Uber. You have to get an Uber to go and run after those bears, don't you? So that's not good. So think about you as a family daycare educator. If you're walking 7 children to school, all the children, think about what you need to put in your assessment, your risk assessment. So safely walking to and from your service. Is there a safe place for families to walk to and from their vehicle or public transport to your home? And are children and families actively encouraged to hold hands? And so talk to families on orientation or now to hold the hands and not to answer the phone if it rings. It's remember to remind families not to be on their mobile phone when walking between your service and the public transport or that. So driveways and car parks. So Ethan, can you put that driveway and car park link up there while you have lanyards. Good on you. Look at that. I love that. Car seats. No, don't worry, Emma. I'll get to that. Okay, good. Oh, good. Okay, excellent. Now, driveways and car parks. So just make sure. Okay, so if Ethan can put that up there, and children under 3 are they're most at risk. And older children have been casualties too, but that's why it's so important when we're walking to talk about when we're walking. See that driveway? Have a look at the car. And sometimes it's hard to hear the car on, so we talk about looking at the lights coming on. And there's one child every year in Victoria that is killed in the car park, and it's between 8 and 10 in the morning and 2 and 4 in the afternoon, and that is school pickup. So, and 92% of the cars are 4-wheel drives because they're big and they don't see the children. Remember at the beginning we said children are small, they're impulsive, and they're extra. So there are extra risks when your home is on the main road and children are walking. So talk to families about where they can park, and of course make sure that they're holding hands. Exactly. So let's make sure that everyone's writing. Look at this. Ethan, did you put the Transport New South Wales? Thank you so much. Okay, so that's driveways. Now, that was children as pedestrians, all of that. Children as cyclists is only one little bit of information. It says in that pink one, adults are responsible for making sure children always wear a properly fitted helmet. Now, it's not illegal for your children to ride bikes in your outdoor area. However, we want best practice. So put a sign on, like ask your families, anyone got spare helmets, and you can it's just for practice really. And wearing a helmet reduces the risk of head injury by 60 to 90%. And remember, hats should not be worn under the helmets. So, and New South Wales road rules tell me how old can you be in New South Wales riding on the footpath? And Victoria, how old can you be, Victoria? Because they're two different ones, mainly. Probably leaving. You do it. I'm just reading that. I'll answer that question in a minute. I'm just looking at the chat. Great questions. Good idea. Put the question in the Q&A. Good idea. Yep, that's great. So New South Wales is 16 and Victoria is 12. There you go. 16 and 12. So, and all cyclists, riders and their passengers are required by law to wear the bike helmets that meet the Australian standards when riding in public places, and that is even in the car park, a public car park. Now, there's religious exemptions. All Australian states and territories allow exemptions to mandatory helmet wear for religious reasons. So, for example, if you're a Sikh or the niqab, etc., you have, and also if you have thyroid issues, and yeah, at Children's Local Park on balance bikes with helmets and fluoro vests. Look at that. So Marg has done a risk assessment and done that. Also, yep, that's it. No helmet, no bike. And the 16-year-old and the parents can be on the road as well with the 16-year-old. The car park. My father was a school teacher and was instrumental in complaining in allowing school-aged children riding on the footpath. Right. With my children, we live in a city. We've always ridden bikes. We never rode on the footpath because we felt it was quite dangerous because of the driveways. So we've always ridden on the roads, and in a city, it's very safe, even though there's so many cars, because we have our own lane. How good's that? Yeah. But one of my children was always problematic wearing the helmet. And when I started doing this 11 years ago, I said, you must wear that. And he'd say, yeah, 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 yeah. And then he'd ride off and just have it on the handlebars. So, and then it got picked up by the police. It's a $295 fine. And he came home and he said, oh, Mum, I got picked up by the police. I said, good, that'll teach you. Oh, no, it was just a warning. I wanted to ring that police officer and say, I want you to find my child and book him. Yes. Because I just, thanks, Rabbi. I will get to that. Don't you worry about that. Children as cyclists. So we're all sorted with that. And now all these beautiful questions about passengers. So let's look at passengers because you've asked lots of questions about this. I love that. You're so excited. As educators, you can play a vital role in providing information to parents and guardians regarding the safe transportation of children. You can also play a role in shaping attitudes and behaviours of children. Now, what is the rule? Research shows that it's not about age. It is 145 centimetres until they're ready to sit in an adult seatbelt. And if you have a look at me, I'm not very tall, but yeah, I should really be in a booster seat. So we have these, and they are so good to have in your home so children can measure themselves, because the seatbelt will not be over the strongest bones of the body. And if the child's not tall enough, the seatbelt will sit across their neck and stomach. So in a crash, the lap part of the belt can sever or severely damage major arteries to the brain. And I'm going to show you information about this, which is, so there's two, you can see those, good, Ethan, can you put both of those websites in there? This is the childroadsafety.org.au. That's where I work in Ella. I just want to check that's it. And that's got this video that you're about to see, and all about the helmets, about there's no lice that jump in the helmets, all of this kind of stuff. Child safety dot what is it? .org. Okay, so put that in. Yep. Okay, so it should be Ella. I'll do that while we're watching the movie. We're going to watch a movie. It's so fabulous. Yep. So have a look. So traveling with cars, and that's in so many different languages. And this other one, Kids and Traffic, will talk to you about. Yeah. So in New South Wales, they've got the age of the children, whereas in Victoria, we actually have the oh, look at that. Ella has produced traveling. There it is. Can let's see if you've got that up there. 22 languages. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so 22 languages. Look at that. 9 years, 12 years. Please have stopped me before. Yeah, doesn't it drive you mad? Carol Booth, can you put it up if you're still there? The Ella, that one, child road safety. That would be cool. Okay, so here's the movie, and you can get this on the childroadsafety.org, and you've got lots of resources there, and you can get all of these pamphlets as well. And now have a look at this.
So the depth of the seat affects the position that a child sits in?
Yeah. If the small child sits in a car seat designed for an adult, the child can't bend their legs around the front of the seat, which means they'll slouch, and so the lap belt will be poorly positioned across the tummy and the sash piece across the neck. And this is how terrible injuries occur. We need that seat belt across the shoulder, breastplate and hip. So my friend here is helping us to understand exactly what the seatbelt is trying to achieve. We need the strong bones of the body in play. We need the shoulders, the breastplate, and look at these hip bones. They are massive, and this is just the strength we need to distribute the force away from those precious organs and protect the child. When a crash occurs, that lap belt hits the tummy, transferring the full force of the crash until the belt reaches the spine. And here, spinal injuries occur. The poorly positioned sash crossing the neck causes life-threatening whiplash, with injuries to the spine, windpipe, and major blood vessels to the brain. These are terrible injuries, all because the seatbelt was not the right size for the child.
How's that? So, okay, yep, all good. Thank you, Ethan. Did you find that helpful? Okay, let's see. Is that right? Ethan, all good? Here we go. Yay. Ethan is the best. He's out there. So who would have known we've got 1,200 people on, and I've got fabulous Ethan at the back kind of controlling everything. So there's the website, Car Seats Save Lives, for that video. How good's that? It's also on the Ella website as well. Pretty good, huh? Yeah. Oh, shush. Okay, so we've seen that. Yeah, we've seen that. Now, this is on your notes as well. This is another when is a child ready for an adult seatbelt? So it's can the child sit with their back against the vehicle seat like this? Do the child's knees bend in front of the edge of the seat? Does the sash belt sit across the middle? Number 3, does the sash belt sit across the middle? I've just said that, across the shoulder. Now, number 4, is the lap belt sitting low across the hips, touching the thighs? And can they sit there for a long period of time? So that's a great, in New South Wales, it's the age. In Victoria, it's the size. But this is a great test as well. What do you think about that? Now, do not leave children in vehicles. If you have to leave your car even for a minute, always take your child with you. Across Australia, leaving a child unattended in a car is strongly discouraged, and in many states it's legal. So in Victoria, it's $4,000 and 6 months jail. In New South Wales, it's $22,000 and up to 2 years jail. How's that? So, and on a typical Australia summer day, the temperature inside a car is 30 degrees or 40 degrees hotter than the outside temperature. So, and when a family member is perhaps leaves a baby in the car and runs the other child in, you have to say you've got to bring the child in with you. Unless there's active supervision, unless the parent can actually see the child right there while they're bringing the child in. So, and if you do after school pickups, if a child's not brought to your vehicle, then all children need to get out of the vehicle to go with the educator. And if you need to fill up your petrol, plan to do it outside family daycare hours. And I know sometimes with all my children, when I had children, I've still got children, but they're big now. But if I was paying for the petrol, I would run in and pay, and then sometimes I would fantasize that someone would come and take the car, and then at least I'd have a few hours off. I'm only joking, and it does happen. Sometimes a parent will be paying petrol, and we know, or they'll be chatting to someone at the school gates, and someone jumps into the car and drives off. It happens a bit in Victoria. They don't realise there's a child in the back. As soon as they realise, they often dump the car. Thank goodness, and luckily the children have been okay. But that is a big worry. So children as passengers in a bus, if a vehicle, some of you wrote this before, if a vehicle has 12 or fewer seats, including the driver's seat, children must use a child car seat. In Victoria and New South Wales, if a vehicle has more than 12 seats, including the driver's seat, children are not required to use child car seats. However, it's recommended that children are placed in a child car seat that is appropriate for their size wherever possible. And it's recommended that services hire buses with lap sash seat belts if you can. Well, that's for the family daycare service if you're doing excursions too. And if a child car seat cannot be used on a bus, children over 1 should use the lap sash seat belt, because often in public buses there's no seat belts, are there? So the New South Wales Department has partnered with Kids and Traffic to develop resources to guide and assist New South Wales Family Daycare Services. How good's that? In implementing best practices in safe transportation. I'm getting too excited. So that's Ethan, that is the Kids and Traffic, if you can put that up. Now, this is getting to the changes in the regs. We're almost done. These are the two that we're going to go through. There's 2 changes. The first one, regular transportation of children. We've spoken a lot about this. The one that came in March last year, and that's centre-based care, family day care, just encouraged, but we say it's best practice. The second regulation is last October. That's for both of you, and that is safe arrival of children. And I'll tell you the difference. I'll just give you an overview now. The first one is what we've been talking about, as in walking to the park, driving to school, one-off or an excursion or regular outings. The second one is from one service to another. So from your family daycare service to the outside school hours or to the kinder. Some of you do all this. So why the changes? I've already spoken about the children being left in the bus. Transporting children may present additional risks depending on how it occurs and how movement between a vehicle and a service or other location is managed. So these risks apply equally to one-off trips or regular transportation. And the new regs, the top one, this one, March, only applies to centre-based care, but as we said, family day care are encouraged to do this. So number one, it's written all in your notes. Notify the New South Wales Regs Authority that your service arranges regular transportation. 2, each child is signed in upon boarding the transport vehicle. 3, there's a head count and roll call. We're all on board. 4, all of the above must be documented. I'll go through this. The interior of the vehicle checked, and each child is signed out as well. And it's good practice for family daycare. If you're a approved provider watching this, nominated supervisor, coordinator, educator, to apply these new safety. Well, they're more than a year old now. Now, this is so the staff member of family daycare or the family daycare educator, not the driver, must ensure that each child signed in upon boarding the transport vehicle. There's a head count, as we said, and roll call, and each child signed out and the interior is checked. And so this is an example here. Confirm each child was accounted for when embarking and disembarking, like getting on and getting off. State how each child was accounted for at the service. State that the interior of the vehicle was checked. Can you see down the bottom? Conducted the vehicle checked and children have disembarked. Louise Dorrit, 933. So that, and all those children, I've put the date and the name as well. And this is best practice. The interior of the vehicle is checked to ensure there's no children left behind. I mean, it's common sense, but because there's been so many children left on buses, this is why this came in more than a year ago. Now, this is the second one. Ethan, can you just put the first one up, which was the what we just did, the transportation of children, and then put the safe arrival of children. This only came in 6 months ago. This is for both. This is for you. Ensure you have policies and procedures in place for the arrival of children. This is, as I said, travel between the family daycare service and another service. So, for example, the kindergarten, the school, the outside school hours, and these risks apply to a single trip or during periods of regular transportation. It's walking or driving. So this is a regulation. And the second one, conduct a risk assessment at least once every 12 months or if the circumstances change. And we've talked about all of that ad nauseum, at length, haven't we? That the risks are, if the risks change, it could be, did the destination change? Did the amount of children? Did the route that you went on? That. So that is, and as we know, the risk assessment includes the age of the child, the individual needs of the child, what are the communication procedures if the child goes missing. So if you're taking the child to kinder 3 days a week, what have you got in place when that child didn't actually get there? And also make sure when you enter the kindergarten, I don't even know why I'm saying this because I know you know this. When you enter the kindergarten, you sign on and you sign out. But it's made a law because people weren't doing it. Same with OSH, sign on, sign out. That's it. And so this is the safe arrival of children that you've seen that Ethan's put in there. And also the keep me safe at arrival and departure times, which is kids and traffic. And there you can see so it's fantastic because the safe arrival of children, that's a CEQA. So we've got so many organisations working to keep your children safe. A CEQA. We've got the Victorian website. We've got the KidSafe. We've got the New South Wales Department website. You are laughing. And, of course, you've got all these documents, the quality improvement plan. Write it in that you're going to do it. You're going to walk around the block and starting next week, once a week, then it's twice a week. Write it in quality area 2, write it in quality area 6. Have a look at our belonging being becoming. So it's And remember, quality area 2 is about that's health and safety, that's the risk assessment, that's the protecting children from harm and hazards, that's the active supervision. And quality area 6 is, how can children be active citizens if they're not out in the community? Like, that is, we want children to be visible, and we come from a place of children, as someone said, I can't remember your name now, but when I found you and you said, we have to believe that children are competent and capable. Exactly. And we want children to have opportunities to visit places in the community. It helps children form relationships with a broad range of people from the community. And they may be strangers, but with active supervision, it's okay to talk to someone that says hello to the children. And, because then they build respect and trust in adults outside their immediate family and outside the family daycare service. So I love all that. Kids and traffic, I think you've put it up 40 times. Traffic, transport safety, risk assessment and management guide. So this is a great guide, a great resource from New South Wales Department. It includes the many factors that must be considered prior to transporting children in a vehicle. So you can use the Kids and Traffic Excursion Risk Assessment, or the one, a CEQA that Carol Booth put up, which is so good. And the Transport Safety Risk Assessment and Management Guide is mq.edu.au. Ethan, I didn't tell you about that one, but it's just written on there. So, safe arrival of children. Have you reflected on how children's families arrive to your service, the risks and the processes to support children's safe arrival? And how has this informed your policies and your practices? And teaching practices. So these are a bit of examples. So you, as a family daycare educator, you're ideally placed to share safe arrival and road safety messages with children during everyday experiences as part of your educational program and your curriculum. And remember the definition of curriculum: interactions, planned and unplanned, and events and routines and transitions. That is your curriculum. So you could use dramatic play and music. So a couple of you said some great songs earlier. And games, the road safety dominoes, photos of children being safe on excursions, so document that. Outdoor experience, arrival and departures. So you can be talking about, I saw that you arrived today on your bike with your dad, and I saw that you wore your helmet. You can see in the screen the road safety mat that most of you have, and the bike set up. And I took that photo. So it's like, how many bikes do we put out today? 4. How many helmets do we need? 4. Yeah, it's all part of it. And of course, the books, reading stories. That's the sound that the street makes there on the website. The road safety, child safety road, ELA, Early Learning Association Australia. So reading stories to children about being safe on the road. Now I took this as family daycare educator, walking. Now I wasn't doing road safety at the time, I was doing music, but it was intrinsic in her, just as soon as she got out of the playgroup, to hold hands, and instead of walking the short way across the car park, she went the long way because it was safer. And I asked to take photos, and then later I said, you don't know this, but I teach road safety, and what I saw, and you were talking to the children about the cars. That is exceeding, because it's road safety practice embedded in service operations. It's not a one-off excursion. It's actually embedded, because this family daycare educator, Michelle, was talking about that. And the safe side of the car as well is the one closest to the footpath. So you've got all of these great, there it is, Kids and Traffic again. How fabulous is that? All of these great resources there. And get children to draw the stop sign, draw the traffic lights. And child-directed learning, so recognising that children, as said earlier, competent and capable learners who have rights and agency. And these photos, that's a Melways. Some of you are probably too young to know Melways, but that is a massive map that in a foyer of a service here in Victoria. And that's a map in a park that the children were looking at which way. So how good is that? You know, children are exercising their agency, their intentionality, their capacity to initiate and lead learning. So the societies that have children out and about and visible are better societies, as I've said earlier. And for children, a sense of community plays an important role in feelings of belonging and security. And children thrive in an environment of mutually supportive and caring relationships. So for this reason, developing a sense of community within a service is crucial. It's also so valuable for children to feel part of the wider community that extends beyond the family daycare home. So as children grow and develop connections to the outside world, help them to find their place in the world, to develop understandings of how does the society work, and to recognise and understand the shared values that underpin our society. As some of you said, they love seeing the crossing supervisor. You know, so think about school-age children having input and your children having input and where you're going. That's it. And, of course, it's all part of the exceeding themes. You know, exceeding theme 1, road safety embedded in service operations. So that's what I was talking about when you talk about it and you do it, not just one a week. Exceeding theme 2, this is about critical reflection. So how does road safety education strategies and approaches informed by critical reflection? Critical reflection is looking at it through multiple lenses, through many perspectives. So from the child's rights, for the child's rights as a citizen, not a citizen of our future, the citizen now. And how are plans for incorporating road safety education shaped by meaningful engagement, families and communities? Are they getting out and about? Are they part of the community? Are you getting your families to be part of planning? So this is a summary of what we discussed, what we know about children, the benefits and the barriers. We talked about those barriers. Risk assessments for regular outings, excursions, transportation, safe arrival of children, the new regulations and road safety educations. And now I want you, I just want to have a look, make sure that I've just got these questions. What about completing a right? Yep, we've done that. What happens if an educator doesn't lodge a risk assessment prior to leaving her home due to a non-routine excursion? Okay, so the coordination unit took 3 weeks to get to her. So you've got to email it, take a photo, email it to the coordination unit. That's out of your hands. You want to get moving. You've got to get your children moving outside the gate. And the coordination unit would be so excited to see you out there. So, yes, that's so when signing children in and out of a vehicle in our transportation law, do we need to note the times in and out? Yes, Kelly, you do. And that beautiful what Ethan did, that one was that was the safe arrival of children. That has got, I had it up there, the times. Yeah, and that's got what you've got. Yes. And just to clarify, that as part of October's changes, so that's safe arrival of children, we're required to safe arrival risk assessment action plan in addition to. So the safe arrival, that's only for when you are going going to school. No, it's all that's on top of, but it's similar. It's the first, that one, family daycare, is under the law, you must do it. The first one, the transportation, is only a guide. So you are laughing, you are doing it, and that's so have a look at both. But by doing the second one, you're covering yourself in both. and they both have risk assessments. They both are about one-off or regular, but the second one, the one in October, is about your family daycare home to a particular another service. Great question. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's beautiful. Let me just check the chat. Now, can you write in the chat? Let me just stop the share. Wow, look at all that. Can you write in the chat one thing that you're going to take away from this session? One thing while I put the music on. What's one thing that you're going to take away in this session? And yeah, I saw, yep, good. One thing that you're going to take, because we have got to, yeah, I answered all the questions. So we are just going cray here. Oh, here we go. I'm still reading. Dance with me. I'm reading. Right, one thing that you're going to do, more community walks. I love that. I love that. Everyone, I love your comments. Woo, going for walks. I love that, Amanda. Walking, yes. You got to change. Change. Seatbelt, great. Everyone dance. Follow all standards. Good. Here we go. Here we go. Take it easy, everyone. We're going to change. Good, get out. That's good. Yasu, Garisto. Getting children out. Oh, that is great. Dance. Everyone stand up and dance. Active, yes. You've got to change.